Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Fuel for Thought. And man, is this season heating up now.
7 winners.
Was that as good as Silverstone?
No.
So
Do you disagree?
I think it was just as exciting in parts.
Okay.
It wasn't as good all the way through
No.
because it wasn't a wet race. However, it was up there. Maybe the second or third best race of the season.
Okay. I suppose, but I just don't think it's as good as Silverstone because we didn't know who was going to win out of like 5 different people at Silverstone.
Yeah.
Whereas this one, we kind of knew McLaren was running away with it. It was either going to be one of the 2 McLaren drivers. I think what made this race entertaining was the squabbles in McLaren.
Oh, man, we'll come on to that.
And Red Bull.
Yes.
So.
This is obviously the review of the Hungarian Grand Prix,
Yeah.
as you know from the title, but just in case you didn't. But yeah, I mean, so we're almost at halfway through the season, and if the first part of the season hadn't have happened, the season would be a lot closer.
Definitely.
And a lot more interesting. Not that it's not interesting, but it would be even more interesting.
Yep. I think Max has about 3 wins points difference between him and Lando at the moment.
3 wins, points difference.
Yes.
So like, what's that, like 60
Roughly.
or 75 points? So it's 25 for a
Actually,
win.
I think it's less than that now. I think it's like 60 something.
Yeah, I think, wasn't it like 80 before this race?
Yeah.
So, yeah, 75. Yeah, it probably is around 70, but just under.
Yeah.
So, okay. It's a decent gap, manageable gap, but it's also a chaseable gap.
It is chaseable.
Very much so.
And especially because Max hasn't won for the last 4 races, I think it is.
Yes.
It's been Oscar, Lando, Lewis, and George.
And how refreshing has that been?
It's been great.
Yeah.
As I said before, this is the season you want to watch if you're not into F1 and you want to watch F1.
Yes. As we said, yeah, best season since 2012.
Yeah.
Obviously, 2012 was closer than this. But since then,
Yeah.
this is the closest and most exciting season.
You never know. There could be 8, 9, 10, 11 different drivers that win. I mean, that's
it's
a bit of a reach, but
I can't see any other drivers winning anytime soon.
I can't either.
I think we've exhausted the list of drivers that could win, apart from Perez. But in his current form, there's no way he's going to win a race.
Unless Danny Rick moves to Red Bull. Maybe he could pull a win out of the bag.
Yeah, but I can't see that happening either.
No.
Wow. I don't know. I don't really know how the internal dynamics of Red Bull are working at the moment because they seem to really like Daniel Ricciardo, obviously, we all do based on his personality, but more so than what his racing results have shown.
Yeah.
So it's a possibility that they promote him, get Liam Lawson into the RB and see how he goes because it's a bit of a throwing in at the deep end to throw Liam Lawson straight into that Red Bull.
Yeah.
So that would make sense. But based on qualifying and results, you would argue that Tsunoda deserves that Red Bull seat above Ricciardo. So
I mean, Ricciardo qualified better than Tsunoda this weekend, but Tsunoda finished in 9th position and Ricciardo finished in 12th.
yeah, apparently, I think the first pit stop was a bit of a point of contention. Is that the right word?
I don't know.
Ricciardo wasn't happy about it.
Yeah, I did hear it was due to strategy. So not necessarily Daniel Ricciardo's fault.
Yes, strategy had certainly a part to play in this weekend.
Yeah, it did indeed.
But I mean, let's start at the beginning, shall we?
Qualifying?
Well,
Or before qualifying?
no, I was going to say the beginning of the race.
Right, okay. Well, McLaren got 1-2 in qualifying, so
They did.
a strong weekend for them.
It was a bit of an odd qualifying, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Because it was a wet qualifying.
it was.
Kind of.
George and Perez out in Q1.
Yeah, George fluffed it a bit. Mm-hmm. I went too early.
Yep.
But yeah, it was quite an uneventful front row lockout, to be honest, because Max didn't go back out for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, that was it. But, I mean, I'm talking about the race. What a start. What a start for Piastri.
For Oscar, yeah. I mean, Lando held his line for a bit, and then he was covering off Max too much, so...
Well, it was also, 3 wide into that corner, didn't go. And, Lando went round as close as he could to Oscar, but ultimately ran out of road.
Yeah.
Then Verstappen went off and certainly took advantage of the runoff.
Yep.
Which, He wasn't happy to give back, but he had to, which was, I think, the right call.
That's where it all began, on his radio with GP.
Yeah.
Yeah, gave
That
the
was
place
hilarious,
back.
wasn't it?
Yeah, it was indeed.
But that obviously put Oscar in a really good position.
He pulled ahead quite quickly.
Yeah.
And Lando couldn't keep up with him at that point.
Yeah, and he deserved it from that start.
Yeah.
And he controlled that first stint really nicely. Gapped Lando a little bit. And yeah, it looked like he was just going to come home quite easily. Easy 1-2, no issues. Oh, wait. And do you know what? Before we get onto this,
Okay.
I was thinking, I was watching it, I was thinking, I bet you, this is such a McLaren thing to do, I bet you they pit Lando first and undercut Piastri.
Yeah.
I bet you they do it.
Either you texted me that or I thought the same thing. I feel like someone said that to me before.
They've
Or
done
I
it
thought it,
before.
or yeah. And I was like, guaranteed they're gonna favor Norris. They always do. But obviously they said they did it to cover Hamilton.
Hamilton who is in a slower car and about 5 or 6 seconds behind Norris
Yeah.
at that point. So unless you're anticipating a terrible pit stop, what are you covering off?
Yeah. Are we discussing this now, or we
Why
diving
not?
straight in?
Why not?
Right.
So I mean, obviously, what we're talking about is McLaren pitting Lando before Oscar on a track that the undercut is powerful at. So they obviously undercut him, which gave Lando the lead on track. And then with the promise to Oscar that they would give the place back. But then Lando was quicker in the second stint, so we were, we want to know if Oscar would have been faster if he was in front, which caused the issue of, well, Lando's quicker now.
Yeah.
Why should he give the place back? But then they've really screwed over Oscar, and it's like they needed to make up their minds. Either they undercut because they want to favour Lando,
Yeah.
or they give Oscar the preferential treatment because he's in front of the road. Don't do both and then
Yeah.
cause tension.
Yeah.
Like, don't undercut, give Lando the lead, and be like, oh no, give it back though. Like one
Yeah.
or the other.
I agree.
And it's just another, like what we were saying a couple of weeks ago, another one of those sort of, I don't know, moments of not inexperience, but like maybe inexperience of having the fastest car. They don't show like the winning maturity of a Mercedes or a Red Bull.
Yeah. I mean, in the time, I was like, of course, Lando, like, he has to give it back to Oscar because Oscar was winning the whole race and that he's only in that position because of McLaren pitting him first. And I was kind of being like, why is he just not giving that place back? But then in quite soon after that situation, in hindsight, I was like, well, they've put Lando in that position, and like, if you're put in a position where you're like, if that was any other team behind him, they would obviously do the undercut and put him in front, and he could have won the race from there due to merit. So I think I heard Lando was saying that he didn't deserve to win the race. It was obviously Oscar's to win. If that was another team behind him and he did the undercut, then he would have won the race, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I do kind of understand why he was like frustrated, the fact that they made that decision, they put him in that position to win the race.
Yeah.
And then they told him to swap back. But at the same time, it was definitely Oscar's race to win. And it was really, I think the team just screwed up their strategy there.
Yeah.
They definitely should have pitted Oscar first. It's always like the leading driver of that team gets the favoured strategy. I don't know why they
Unless
didn't do
they're
that.
really far ahead in the championship.
Yeah. And also, I just don't think that Hamilton would have even
No.
been in contention for that P2. So I think, I don't really like the position that they put them in.
It was just unnecessary tension.
Yeah.
Because, if they'd done it the other way around, then maybe Lando catches Oscar, they can battle, he can overtake him, and then fair and square.
Exactly.
But the way they did it, it's like, I think Lando should have given it sooner.
Agreed.
Then he could have had a chance to chase him down and argue the point of like, all right, let him by.
Yeah.
Now I'm quicker. Can I have a go overtaken? But he let him by with what, like less than 10 laps to go, I think?
It was 2 laps to go.
2 laps to go.
Yeah, and he said in the press conference after, the only reason he was going to give it back on the last lap, and the only reason he didn't was because Will Joseph says on the radio, if there's a safety car now, you're going to look a bit silly because obviously it will bunch all the cars up and risk that 1 and 2. So that's why he gave it back then. But he was literally going to leave it till the last lap.
So if you're Lando, you give it back earlier, and then you've got a better hand to play. If you give it about two laps to go, you have no chance of arguing your case.
True, but I also think he wanted to prove the point that he did have the quicker car in that second stint.
Yeah, I know.
So that's probably why he did it, because Oscar was not catching him. He was pulling away from Oscar.
It was like 6 seconds ahead at one point.
But then he did have the clean air, whereas Oscar didn't necessarily. So
I don't know. It was just a mess, and it just put a damper on what's been their most successful weekend.
Yeah, and
for what? 3 years.
Since Monza, yeah.
3 years.
Mm-hmm. And also, I feel like it did kind of put a damper on Oscar Piastri winning his first ever race.
Because then, I just got let by with 2 laps to go.
Yeah.
Even though you were leading the race, yes, you, quote unquote, deserved it. But sometimes you deserve it and you don't win. That's just how racing goes.
Exactly.
And that wasn't racing, was it?
No. It was a shame because I think they pitted Lando on like lap 45.
Well, they pitted him first both times. They gave him preferential treatment both times.
So he had 20-ish laps to catch Oscar and overtake him if he wanted to.
Exactly. I would much rather have seen that.
Yeah, me too. But I don't really like the position that McLaren put him in. And I think it was kind of all the talking point afterwards, rather than the fact that obviously some bits were saying Oscar won his first Grand Prix, but I think the main talking point was that situation, which is a shame because...
Absolutely. Because, everyone's looking forward to Oscar Piastri's first win. And now, we just have to talk about this rather than be like, oh, Oscar Piastri, what great driver, this was a long time coming. And there was a bit of that, but not as much as there should have been.
I heard that it was his 35th, I think, around 35th Grand Prix start, and he won his first race.
That's great.
Yeah.
Like, what's the last driver to win a race that quickly?
Lewis?
Probably. Yeah, probably.
Or Max?
Probably Max.
Max, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, I know obviously the McLaren is quick, but it hasn't been quick every weekend. And I heard that they said that they didn't bring any upgrades to this weekend, so it's all down to
and Red Bull did.
Yeah, so the track has kind of favoured them this weekend as well.
Yeah, it's quick, but it's not dominant quick.
No, but I wonder if more upgrades will ensure the dominance of that McLaren.
We'll see. We'll see what Spa does for them. But yeah, I mean, who should we talk about next? I guess it's Max Verstappen, really, isn't it?
Max Verstappen.
It's got to be.
Yep.
He was on one this weekend. He was not happy.
No. And do you know what? They said about 4 times the fact that he stayed up the night before playing his...
Sim racing.
Yeah, playing. No, sim racing.
Well, I think they said he did a sim race last night and he did a sim race the morning.
Yeah.
Not last night, but the night before the race. And the morning of the race.
Yeah. I mean... I suppose he can do what he wants.
Well, it's one of those where it's like, if you're winning and you can do that, no one bats an eyelid. They're like, they go, oh, it's really impressive that he can do that and still win.
I think we said that a few podcasts ago.
Yeah.
We were like, oh yeah, Max can stay up all night and do sim racing.
Yeah, but if you're not winning, and then it's very easy to use it as an excuse.
Yeah.
So who knows? I feel like, let's wait and see before using that narrative against him.
Yeah. I think a lot of it came to do with strategy with that Red Bull.
Yeah.
I think they kind of messed up his strategy a little bit because they let Lewis undercut him, twice. And
yes, but Mercedes did pit really early on the first stint, which Lewis wasn't too happy about, but it worked out in the end.
But then they should have kind of covered the undercut straight away. Did they not?
No.
I feel like Red Bull didn't.
They didn't. They left him out for a few more laps.
Yeah. Unless at that point in time they didn't think that his race was with Hamilton. Maybe they thought... Because at one point, Will Joseph said to Lando that his race was with Verstappen. So...
Well, it should have been, really.
Yeah.
It would have been, actually, had Verstappen not made that mistake. And it just appeared that he got too frustrated. The red mist fell and he got too aggressive.
With Lewis.
Yeah, and I just want to say, anyone that says that's Hamilton's fault, like, it's not. That was no way his fault. Like, he's taken the corner. Max has come in so quickly for a dive bomb and locked up at least 3 wheels, which means he can't turn.
Yeah.
Which means Lewis has gone into him and thus they've knocked wheels. If Max had come in next to him like that, not locked up and turned, they would have turned together at the same angle
Yeah.
and both made the corner. So how is that Lewis's fault when he's taken a corner and someone dives him up at the inside, locks up and goes straight on into him? This is like, it just isn't.
Well, it was a racing incident in the end. No one got
Yeah,
a
because
penalty.
they argued that Hamilton could have given more room. But it's like, I don't know. It was just such an aggressive move.
Yeah.
And such a heavy lockup that it was ridiculous. Like, there was only one place he was heading. It was off the track either way. So,
But I wonder if Lewis had been crashed out of the race, whether that would have been a different story. Even though they're not supposed to give penalties because of that.
yeah, I know.
But Lewis got away with that.
Well, Max got away with it even more.
Yeah, true.
He was in the air.
I know, but he kind of gave away his positions.
Yeah, but
But yeah, he
only
was
lost
flying in the air.
one position at the end. No, two positions. No, what one? But net two because he would have overtaken Hamilton eventually,
Yeah.
probably. But it benefited Charles Leclerc. And then obviously the radio.
He was not happy on that radio. And GP was not having any of it.
He was like, I'm not arguing with other teams on the radio. And Max making it's childish.
Yeah. Yeah.
And at first I was like, is that aimed at Mercedes? Like,
Yeah. I wasn't sure whether it was aimed at like another team or aimed at Max.
yeah. But when he was like, oh, that's a good introduction, gentle introduction to the tyres, isn't it? And Max is just like,
He lost it.
yeah, well, you giving me this strategy. I'm making the
Yeah.
most of it with a few more swear words in
Yeah,
there.
with the bleeps here and there. Yeah. He just was not happy today. The whole race, it seemed.
Yeah. I mean, if that's what's going to happen when he's not in the dominant car, then
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, if Max continues, if Red Bull continues, I'm not saying that they're on kind of like a downfall, I guess, because they're not.
no.
But if Red Bull did start to become a worse car, I don't think Max will stay in the sport for that much longer.
Nah, he just changed teams, probably.
Do you think?
Well, he'd be more likely to change teams.
I don't know. I feel like if he's like not winning, then he'll be like, nah, I'm done.
Nah, not yeah, I don't think.
Okay.
I think maybe when he's like 30.
Okay.
Or like early 30s.
Yeah. I don't see him staying as long as like Lewis or
No.
Alonso.
He said he won't anyway.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, if it's going to be like that, then, yeah, it's entertaining. So, yeah, bring
True.
it on, I guess. Yeah, I don't know.
Speaking of Red Bull, Sergio Perez. He actually didn't do terribly.
Did all right, didn't he?
He started P17,
Yeah.
P16. I think George was P17.
Yes. Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, I think he started just ahead of George.
Yeah, he did.
Shocker was out in Q1 again.
Crashed again. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. The commentators couldn't believe it either.
It's just not surprising anymore. But he finished P7,
Yeah.
so not terrible.
It's what he should be doing every week,
Yeah,
at least.
at least. I mean, if Max finished P5, then P7, like if you looked at that, you'd be like, oh, fair.
But he finished ahead of George.
Yeah, he
He
did.
finished P8.
But George wasn't too far away from him, but George pitted for fresh tyres to get the fastest lap.
Yeah. But he must have already been behind him then. But Russell was ahead of him at one point.
In the beginning, he overtook him.
Yeah. So, yeah. I suppose that is a small win for Sergio Perez.
Yep.
But
Will they
it's not
continue?
good enough, I don't think, for his seat at this rate.
Nope. We'll see. We'll see after Spa, I think.
Yeah. But let's talk about Ferrari.
Okay.
What an improvement of a weekend for them.
Do you know what? At the end of the race, I was like, where did Ferrari come? Because I feel like it was mainly just McLaren
Yeah.
and Red Bull and a bit of a Mercedes in there. But then I was like, Charles Leclerc came 4th and Carlos Sainz came 6th.
He came 4th because of Max.
Yeah, but still.
But,
it's,
the last, I think 3 out of 4 races, he's been lapped.
yes.
So what an improvement for him
It's an
there.
improvement.
And Sainz should have finished 5th.
Yeah.
Verstappen should have got a penalty.
Yeah, agreed.
But it is what it is.
Yeah. But they did a lot better than they have been. Well, Carlos came 5th last race, so
Yeah, Carlos has been okay.
yeah.
But Ferrari needs to pick it up.
Indeed. McLaren have overtaken them now in the constructors. So
Were they not ahead of them before?
I think this jumped them. I don't think they were.
I thought they were.
Or maybe they jumped them last time, but
Yeah.
they've extended the lead.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
And then the second half, I guess the midfield and the back markers. It's just it was just, I don't know. I didn't really pay attention because the front was
No.
so entertaining.
The only thing I did hear was Alex Albon was not happy on his radio because Williams changed his strategy about 3 times, and he was like, "You need to be more decisive because I'm cooking my tyres because you're telling me I'm doing one thing, and then you're deciding that I'm not doing that anymore, but my tyres are cooked. So how am I supposed to extend the life of these tyres if I've already cooked them?" Like,
Yeah, not wrong.
he was not happy,
But-
which is fair. Like, you can't maybe change it once or twice. Well, twice is kind of pushing it, but once and be like, actually, your tyres look good. Let's switch to I don't know,
pivot
once
to this plan.
Exactly, but they changed it like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, but I mean, that's a good sign from him. I suppose like good leadership qualities
Yeah.
within the team.
Yeah,
So
and because he's staying on with them,
the
he
team-
can feed back that.
yeah, and if it's more competitive in the future, then that sort of attitude, I guess, will stand him in good stead.
Yeah,
Pierre Gasly, poor Pierre Gasly, DNF'd really early on again.
again, yeah.
Just retired the car.
Hopefully, he has better luck in Spa.
Retired the car in Silverstone. Before the race.
DNS,
even.
yeah.
Yeah. Crazy. Mm-hmm. Crazy.
Not good. I think Esteban Ocon came like 18th.
Yeah.
Not good for Alpine this weekend.
Hey, Logan Sargent had an incident-free race.
He did. No points though.
Did he spin in qualifying?
I don't remember that.
I think he might spin in practice. Either way, I
Okay.
don't remember.
Well, it wasn't in the race, so
Yeah, it
it's a
wasn't in the
win
race.
for Logan.
Side note, did you see that Yuki Tsunoda's crash in qualifying apparently was 68 Gs?
Wow.
Which is more than Grosjean's crash.
Oh my god. Really?
Yeah.
And he was alright.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot. I can't even like comprehend
Apparently,
that.
yeah.
I can't even comprehend.
I mean, that equates to, is it like 68 times your body weight?
I don't know.
I think that's how
I don't know.
G-force works. But yeah,
That
in
is a lot.
force.
Wow. Okay, fair.
Mental. Yeah.
Well done for him for walking away from that.
Yeah. I think
Fine.
lateral Gs, so like sideways Gs, aren't as bad as, what's the other one? Longitudinal Gs, I don't know.
I don't know.
Ones that are like pressing down in you,
Okay,
I guess.
yeah.
But even so, that's a lot.
Yeah.
God.
Wow.
I'm sorry if that made me sound really dumb.
I mean, I didn't know.
Clued up on my Gs.
Wait, what did you say? What was
I
it?
said longitudinal Gs.
I'm sure that's the correct phrase.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Yep. Anyway, I don't mean there's any other memorable situations.
No, we could talk about, like steak and Arby and all that, but all the excitement was up front.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's time to review our predictions.
Okay.
So I've just looked it up. It's vertical Gs.
I prefer longitude. How do you say that word? Now I look stupid.
Longitudinal.
Okay, let's move on. Let's move on.
Forget
quickly.
everything I said about cheese.
Okay.
Predictions.
I'll begin.
All right.
Qualifying.
Yes.
P3, Oscar Piastri.
Mm-hmm.
P2, Max Verstappen. And pole position, Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah, you were wrong on all 3 counts.
I was wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, you were wrong.
I was wrong, yeah.
What did I put? I put P3, Lewis Hamilton, P2, Lando Norris, and P1, Max Verstappen. I was wrong.
Yeah, you were wrong. Let's not even talk about the fact that it's like the right kind of people up there.
Yeah,
It's just wrong. Race.
This one's going to be good.
So
You want to come back to our podcast for all your race predictions from now on because of
I
this
think
one.
we are both psychic.
Yeah. Should have put a bet on it.
Should have done. Well, I put P3, Lewis Hamilton. It was correct.
Mm-hmm.
P2, Max Verstappen, not correct. I should have had more faith in Lando.
You should have.
And P1, I put Oscar Piastri, and guess what? I was correct.
He won his first race.
Crazy. I just knew it, I just knew it.
Yeah. I think we had a feeling where it was
We
like,
both did, yeah.
you know, he's the next best driver not to win this season. So it's his time.
It is.
Yeah.
And I just felt the momentum of like the different driver winning every week.
Yeah. So I put P3 George Russell. Well, he let me down there in Q1, didn't he?
Yeah, I put the wrong Mercedes driver up there, but...
Well, I put P2 Lewis Hamilton.
Okay.
So, close. Just squeeze Lando Norris in the middle there because I put P1 Oscar Piastri.
Oh, yeah.
We
We were on it. We just knew.
What did we say? Call the last video. It was like, is Oscar hungry enough to win his first race? And he was.
He was.
He was hungry enough.
He is the first F1 driver who was born in the 21st century
That's mad.
to win
He's like
a Grand
12.
Prix. He's like 12.
Yeah, he's 12.
To be fair, yeah. Anyone born in 2000 plus is like...
He's like 12.
Yeah, it's like 12.
Well, let's put it this way. If he was born in 2001, then when Hamilton won his first race, he was 6.
Wow.
6 years old.
Yeah. What about Alonso, though? That's the thing.
When did Alonso win his first race? Like 2003?
I don't know. Probably something like
If it was
that.
like, I think it was like 2003,
Yeah.
and he was 2.
Wow.
This is mental.
Wow. There's a 2-year-old out there now who loves F1 who's going to be racing in 18 years. And we'll still be here.
No. Yeah. His first win was the Hungarian Grand Prix 2003.
Oh, wow. Wow.
So yeah.
Okay. Oscar was 2 years old.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mad.
Makes me feel...
So we're not going to top that all season,
No.
but
Unless we put something crazy to win and we somehow...
yeah. Perez to win in Spa. No, not going to happen.
No.
Bold predictions.
I said Oscar Piastri will beat Lando Norris. Now, this is a bit of a sore one, but it's true.
It
He did
happened.
beat him, but not quite the way I wanted him to, but nevertheless, he was the best out of the two this race. So, yeah. He definitely deserved his win.
Yeah, he did. I put Verstappen and Norris will collide again. Now, Verstappen did collide with someone.
Yeah.
It wasn't Lando Norris.
Do you know what? It's either going to be Lewis Hamilton or Lando Norris.
Yeah.
Toss up between the two.
Yeah, and a lot of the time it is kind of like 50-50, but as I said, this time it was just Verstappen getting too frustrated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. My second one was Stake will score their first points.
That didn't happen, did it?
Didn't happen.
No.
I don't see them scoring a point this season now.
Probably not. Maybe.
Well, Valtteri Bottas was 9th at one point, and I was like, oh, go on, mate. And then that didn't last very long.
And then he probably pitted.
Yeah.
I put wet race. It wasn't. It was wet qualifying though. But the flood videos were funny.
Yeah.
All the teams making.
How did they turn that around really quickly?
Yeah. I guess it must dry really quickly because it's really hot there.
Yeah, it was like 30, I think, 30 degrees.
And the third one?
There'll be a crash between lap 42 and 54 because that was kind of like the pit window. And I thought, you know, when there's like football bets and they're like, oh, there'll be a goal between these 5 minutes. I was like, I'll just do one of those.
On.
Yeah. But Max's little tangle with Lewis was lap 63, I think.
Almost.
Almost.
And a half a
I'm
point.
only 9 laps out.
So this is going to go down as the best prediction of all time. Mm-hmm. Piastri to capitalise, get his first win.
Capitalise.
Well, it was to capitalise on probably Verstappen and Norris colliding, but capitalise on McLaren's poor strategy.
Yeah. I mean, true.
So yeah,
He capitalised on Lando having a bad start, I think.
he did. Oh yeah, he definitely did.
So.
And you know, don't think that. Sorry, I'll start that sentence again.
Okay.
In every time that Lando's got pole, which is not many, it's like 2 or 3, he has not led after the first lap.
Wow.
So far. Mm-hmm. I think that's a stat.
I think pole position in Hungary isn't a great position because...
It's on the outside.
Yeah, and I think I could be wrong, but I think the last 4 poles or something like that haven't won in Hungary. Something, statistic like that. It's not great being on pole in Hungary.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that statistic probably isn't indicative of, or completely indicative of Hungary as a track, because, you know, I can't remember. Was it Hamilton that qualified pole last year? I think it was. And obviously he didn't have the quickest car, so he's not going to win. You know.
Was it George?
Was it George?
I can't remember.
I think it was Hamilton.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and, you know, the last couple of years where Verstappen's been completely dominant, and if he's not got a pole, then obviously he's going to overtake him.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it might not be Hungary.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
Fair.
And obviously in 21, I think Hamilton got pole. Yeah, Hamilton got pole. And then there was that silly race start where everyone pitted but him.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, other things have happened.
True.
Not being completely due to that.
Okay.
But, yeah. So, before we wrap up, I just have one more thing to talk about that I've just remembered. Is, what's the best way to put this? Lando didn't show complete grace in this whole situation, and I don't completely blame him for that. You know, like, the camera's on him at all times, obviously. You're not going to be happy with how it went down. And so people have taken clips of him being frustrated or unhappy or, you know, just, like, looking upset or whatever, and taking it out of context, like, it's not happy for Oscar. But, you know, some of his arguments with his engineer on the radio and them having to beg him, and that's, you know, partly on McLaren as well. That was very embarrassing to hear. But then, like, wasted in the cool-down room to Hamilton, like, snapping back at him. Hamilton's like, oh, like, Hamilton, you know, comes across as a little bit socially, like, different. It is. So he just kind of goes like, oh, you guys are fast. And it's like, it's not naturally maybe what other people would say.
Yeah.
But he's just like, just trying to be friendly. And so he's like, oh, you guys are quick. And then Norris is like, yo, you had a quick car 7 years ago.
Yeah,
and
I heard that. And I was like, oh my God.
It's like, yeah, he might be joking, like, venting that with a little bit of frustration.
Yeah.
You never know the context, but it didn't come across very well.
Yeah.
The optics of it weren't very good. And Hamilton's just like, oh, well, were you 7 years ago? Like,
yeah.
I was just
I heard
complimenting your
that.
car, man.
I think he just misinterpreted what Lewis was saying. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe it's like Lewis is the same thing, or, you know, he tends to use the same, like, compliments, and maybe it just, like, bugged him. Maybe.
I actually had something to say about the Lando thing again. What was it? I really, I don't know.
Well, what do you think of that? I do have something positive to say, is that I think his answer in the post-race interviews was very good. It was a very, very good interview answer. And yes, they're PR trained and all that, but, you know, it was a very, by contrast, a very gracious response.
Yeah.
Saying, you know, Oscar deserved it from the race start, and the strategy put us in this situation. So, yeah, I was always going to give it back because that's the right thing to do. And it's like, yeah, okay, he's PR trained to say that, but it was, you know, a humble response. The only part where it wasn't where he was just sulking at the end again, like he did in a previous race where he was like, yeah, I just should have got a better start.
Yeah. So. I remember what I was going to say. Firstly, I don't think Lando was upset that Oscar won. I think he was annoyed at the situation that he was put in. And secondly, obviously, I think a few drivers wouldn't have done what he did. I don't think a few drivers would have given that place back to
Sebastian Vettel.
back to their teammate. So I think he's obviously shown that he has, like, really good teamwork, and he'll need that in the future, definitely, because if he's going to win championships, he'll need Oscar to be on his side. So I think he made the right decision to give that place back.
That's true. However, McLaren need to decide whether they want to win the Drivers' Championship or the Constructors' Championship.
They definitely want to win the Drivers' Championship. That's a no-brainer.
Then they need to decide, you know, if they want to back Lando as the championship leader for them.
Yeah.
You know, they've got to be ruthless with it. They can't just
That's why I think they should have just pitted Oscar first, because Lando probably would have taken him.
Exactly. It's like, oh, it's too early in the season, like, they're too close in points, so give the lead driver preferential treatment. Otherwise, back Lando and give him preferential treatment and just stick with it. Like, decide.
It is a debate. I see both sides. It's a tricky one. But
She needs to be more ruthless, I think.
Yeah.
But anyway, not worth digging too much into Lando's like reactions because it's understandable. But I guess worth mentioning.
Yeah, definitely.
Because it's like it's a contrast to his previously like bubbly character.
Yeah.
And maybe that's a symptom of having the chance to win and it being snatched away from you, and it being more frequent. But yeah. Anyways.
Well, maybe he'll win a few more races this season. I did say he's going to win the championship.
Yeah,
so he's going to win.
Right.
And I was right about Oscar. Obviously, you were right as well. But I was right about Oscar winning this race.
And we were laughing at the start of the season, saying, "Oh, that's a bit bold, isn't it?"
Yeah.
And look where we are now. So
exactly.
Let's end it on a positive. McLaren 1-2. Yeah. We're all happy.
49th 1-2. Fun fact.
Everyone's happy that F1 is exciting again.
Mm-hmm.
All good.
And we have Spa next.
So, yeah, we'll end it there.
Mm-hmm.
So, thank you, everyone, for watching and listening. That was obviously a very long, detailed discussion. A lot to talk about, a lot of controversy.
Yep.
But we hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. Please get involved in the discussion. Obviously, some opinionated takes there. So, let us know yours. Leave a comment, leave a like, and we'll catch you very shortly because Spa is next weekend.
Yep.
For the next one and the build up to the Belgian Grand Prix.
Woohoo!
All right.
Bye.